Hey, Kathleen, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Anna. Thank you so much. I'm honored to have this opportunity to share this time with you. So thank you. Thank
Yes, you're
you
welcome.
very much.
Yeah, this is our first time meeting, so this is very
Yes.
exciting. And I'm really curious, where are you from?
New York,
You're from New York? Is that where you
in,
grew up?
in Queens.
You grew up
Yes,
in
in Queens,
Queens.
in
Okay.
Albans.
Okay. Did you like it?
Quite honestly, I had a very nice childhood. Summer camp, riding my bicycle, climbing the tree in my backyard, ripping the new coat on the tree that my mother got me and told me not to wear in the backyard. I had a really good childhood. Thank you. Not
Eh,
without a few things, a few hiccups.
yeah, of course. Right? I think we all have some hiccups.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
so when did the idea of breath work really enter into your life?
Oh, boy, Anna. Honestly, I think the breath had been calling me for a long time because for a very long time, my life was extremely unsatisfying. And that's just such a nice way of saying that it sucked. Um, I, I was seeking really for a long time because life it didn't really feel good. I wore a big smile. I, hung out and partied and looked like I was having a good time, but deep down in my heart, I really wasn't. And for quite a while in my adult life, I was seeking, so what did that mean? I was taking personal development classes and workshops and going to different churches and reading different books and you know, it still wasn't clicking. I was working jobs that, oh my God, they were soulless. They were not to me nothing. They didn't feed me. And I eventually wound up in Maryland at IVISD Intervisions. IVI Intervisions Institute for Spiritual Development with Iyanla Van Zant, and
Mhm.
I was
That was it.
introduced. That was it. I was
Okay,
in.
so I want to ask you. So you first mentioned that you had a really good childhood,
Mm-hmm.
and then you mentioned that life didn't really feel good.
Yeah.
So how old were you when life started to not feel so good?
Mm, good question. Um, that's a really good question. As I just twiddle my toes as you say that, because I'm going to take it back to being in the single digits, maybe early eight, maybe nine. Um, at that point, I was upstairs. Would you like me to share the story?
Sure, sure.
I was upstairs. I may cry. I was upstairs with my sisters, and I could feel their energy. And I didn't know what was happening, but I knew something was happening. And I remember I, I wanted to be involved. I wanted to take action because I felt that I needed to, and I felt from my sisters also that action needed to be taken. And I heard my mother whimpering downstairs and saying to my father, no, don't. And what was happening was that my father was beating my mother. Let me just take a breath on that. As an adult, I understood that. As a child, I knew that my mother needed help, and I knew something was going on that wasn't right, but I didn't know what to do or how to help. And probably, honestly, also there was some fear there too. My father was a big dude,
Mm.
6'3", And, as an adult, as I got clarity, I realized that my mother was speaking low so that she wouldn't frighten us. But, at that point, it was done. And all parents do the best that they can do. And I believe at that moment, the seed that was planted was that I had to protect my mom. Although, quite honestly, I think that went back to in utero, quite honestly, because I feel my father abused my mother when she was pregnant with me. So that story that recollection has totally tossed out of my brain what you were saying. And at that point, at what you asked, at that point, what I made up in my mind, the story was that I had to protect my mother. And also, do whatever I could do to keep the peace. So I was always, and still am, very vivacious, very outgoing. But at that point, it was to keep the peace. Ultimately, thank God, my mother divorced my father. But, at that point, the seeds are planted. And, that, as I just sit here and share all of my stuff with you, is compounded by that I was molested by my father as an infant and as a toddler. So, that showed up in my adult life as, all of it, not enough, not good enough, unworthy, undeserving. And I'm just going to ask everybody to just take a breath with me again. And so that is the starting point of wanting more, knowing that, as an adult, I'm speaking, there is an authenticity to me that before the breath, I had no access to. I didn't know how to access it. I didn't know how to be it. And the breath, what I love about it is that it reminds me of the truth of who I am: whole, worthy, courageous, confident. And it gives me, through its subtleness, yet its power, the empowerment to heal the stories that don't serve my highest and greatest good. Now, I don't negate that the molestation was horrible. Yes. However, the breath allows me to rise above the story, to heal myself, to heal the wounds, to love on that little girl. And again, to remember the truth of who I am: whole, innocent,
So, Kathleen, it sounds like there was a lot of fear there because you had to protect yourself, right? A safety is our natural instinct. And would you agree that when we're in a state of fear, our breath becomes short?
Oh my God, it doesn't become short. It stops. It stops. Absolutely. Yeah. That's why I asked your viewers to breathe with me, because in that moment I was reliving it. But I'm going to say also that's the beauty of the breath, because when you're doing breath work, let's say, and forgive me if I'm digressing, but when you're doing breath work and let's say a memory comes forward, it's a gift from the breath. And when you press in and when you breathe, the breath really does transform it, neutralize it, dissolve it, again, take you up another level so that you can, again, be who you were designed, born to be: whole and safe. And to remember that.
I can't help but notice when you talk about the breath, Kathleen, your whole tone changes. You get excited. I can feel it.
Yeah, I'm Well, there are two subjects I always say that I love to talk about, the breath and me. Um, However, the breath is just, I personally have experienced and grown and expanded with it. I personally know what it does for you. And then, every day with my clients, I get to watch them unfurl. I get to watch them grow breath by breath. I'll give you a quick example. So I had a session this morning with someone. We started maybe about 3 months ago. And 3 months ago, her heels were dug in. Girlfriend wasn't thinking anything about expansion, a business owner, wasn't thinking about expansion. She was in a little box, chose not to see anything, and the breath has just opened her up. Now my girl is talking about how she's going to do a teleseminar, and she hooked up with someone, and they're going to do a video. See, all with the breath, the confidence, the courage, the clarity.
Why do you think that is?
Several things. One, the breath first and foremost releases from our body cortisol, which is stress. All of us are on a 24/7 lifestyle. We are bombarded constantly. Our senses are constantly hammered, I'm going to say attacked, yeah, by the ads and everything, telephones, TV, everything. And what the breath does is it releases cortisol, the stress from the body. So we're not in fight or flight all the time with the adrenaline flowing constantly. If your body is flowing constantly with adrenaline, first of all, you get adrenal fatigue. That's number one. How is that going to show up? Brain fog, headache, dis-ease in the body, high blood pressure, overweight, anxiety just to the max. And the breath just really releases, eases that cortisol from the body. And it increases the good feeling endorphins. And where you have tension and where you have peace in the body, the tension will fall off. The adrenaline, the fight or flight, it will dissolve, neutralize. This is what's called homeostasis in medical terms. And a body that is at homeostasis is a body that has clarity. It is a body that can heal itself. I'm going to put that in quotes. And by heal, I mean it really does enhance your immune system. Really. It supports you to regulate your blood pressure, lower your blood pressure. It supports your digestion. It supports the body to create its own natural melatonin so that you can sleep. And the intuition is off the hook because you don't have that fight or flight and that constant mind chatter going, so you can hear. Now, if you are experiencing a horrible diagnosis, like last night I did a breathwork workshop with women who are experiencing cancer. It supports the body, again, to really enhance its immune system, and again, to sleep and to take the edge off. Because I really think, Anna, now we're all like, whoa! And not only with what's going on in our personal lives, but also the collective consciousness energy these days, it's very dense and can be very draining. And life and energy is sucking. So those are some of the benefits. Yeah.
I hear you. I'm curious about your personal transformation, because you had mentioned that you were seeking answers. You had this childhood that was good in some ways and some ways quite terrifying, right? And then it sounds like when you were in early adulthood, it was like something just didn't feel right. And which led you to seek. And so I'm curious, once you started you went to this program in Maryland. I'm in Maryland. Um, south of Baltimore. I think her program is in Baltimore,
In
right?
Baltimore, yeah.
How do you pronounce her name? I never can pronounce it right.
Iyanla.
Iyanla. You went to this
Iyanla.
program with Ilanya.
Iyanla.
Ilanya. Was that really the turning point for you when things started to change? I'm really curious about your...
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. I was introduced to the breath by my teacher, Ken Kaiser. Shout out to Ken. And I was hooked. I'm going to be very transparent with you. I was also resistant with the breath, and resistant because what my soul was ready to heal was the molestation. However, the breath hooked me, and I went back to Ken, and I got certified. And I'm honored to say also that Ken is now my client. I do breath work with him, for him, which is such an honor. And even though when I got certified, I went back to the sucky job, the breath was still talking to me in the back of my head, and it wouldn't let me go. And every time stuff got funky, for lack of a better word, life wasn't working right, I would do some breath work. And one day I sort of mixed up my story a little bit, but after I got my certification, I used the breath for myself only. And I went back to the sucky job. And one day in the sucky job, I was like, okay, Kathleen, enough. We got to sit or get off the pot, And how it showed up for me was I had a torn rotator cuff. So I was out of work for 6 weeks. And for 6 weeks, all I could do was just do breath work, cry, talk to God, do more breath work, talk to God, and cry. And I was asking God, is this it?
Mm.
Is this all there is?
How old were you?
I was in my early 40s. And I'm like, no mas, no more. What's up with this? And so during those 6 weeks, there was just a point when I was very clear that what I was to do was to share the breath. So I went back to the sucky job. And for 1 year and 3 quarters, I worked 7 days a week. Anybody who would let me teach on my 2 days off, I taught. And the other 5 days I was at the job. And then on April 4th, 2014, I pressed send and sent in my letter of resignation. And the next week, that Friday, I was in Sing Sing prison teaching breathwork to 13 inmates. Wow. And as I was teaching breathwork in a maximum security facility, I never felt so free. And since then, I have had the honor of teaching, sharing the breath with so many people and watching them breath by breath free themselves from self-imposed bondage, which we can sometimes put ourselves in, sticky situations, not feeling loved, so many things, and just watching them unfurl and soar.
So I'm curious about teaching breathwork to prisoners, right? So there's that saying, hurt people hurt people. So these people, let's say, that are in prison, they're also in pain. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And I really thoroughly enjoyed the session. And in fact, I'm in talk with someone now to get back there. to teach breath. And one of the guys, I have goosebumps just thinking about it. Oh, this one guy, I shared my story. I shared my story about my father. And this one guy, tall guy, comes up to me afterwards and he puts his big hands on my shoulders and he says to me, I'm so sorry that the man whose seed that brought you into this world did that to you. I'm so sorry that the man who was supposed to protect you didn't. What a huge healing for me. A huge healing for me in a myriad of ways. A huge healing for me and my father. A huge healing for me feeling safe in the world, and a huge healing for me with any under the surface safety issues with men. Huge. Then another, and then huge for him to be able to support someone else to free themselves. Then there was another gentleman in the class who had the experience, because the breath, you rebirth yourself. That's initially what breathwork was called by another teacher of mine, Leonard Orr, the father of breathwork. He had an experience of being back in the womb with his twin and with, being in the womb and he's with his mother. That's huge. First of all, for him, he gets to heal all the in utero stuff, and all of us marinated in something. All of us did. Either what our mother did, our father did, and it can go back into our ancestors. So he was able, since he brought up his twin, he was able to have a healing with her and a healing with his mother and a healing for him to forgive himself. It was huge. And then another guy said to me, I'm going to take this and now I can sleep. He said, you have no idea how noisy it is. And that works for all of us. How many of us don't sleep at night? How many of us have a twin or a sibling that we don't get along with? I'll just raise my hands on that one. How many of us have that? How many of us have a parent that we don't have a good relationship with? So whether you're behind bars or not, the breath is the key to freedom.
I just want to say that you shared such beautiful stories of healing, really extraordinary.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, because you've mentioned that, the breath is really a lot of internal work. Is there integration with talking about things that arise?
It can, because the breath, as subtle as it is, sometimes it can stir the emotional pot. And I will say, in my personal and professional opinion, that pot is stirred because we're resisting. And we all resist. My hands are up in the air again.
Me too.
We all resist. And I really feel that resistance is a part of the process for us to stand firmly, assuredly, confidently. So sometimes we do need to talk things up, and sometimes in a session, something comes up and you're like, whoa, what the hell is this? Where did this thought come from? However, what I always say, and I'm going to repeat myself, if something comes up in a session, you're like, it's a gift. It's a gift from the breath. It's a gift because your soul is ready to heal it, manifest it, create it, transform it, transmute it, neutralize it, dissolve it. So keep the breath going, because the breath will, just as it did for me, it has taken those tight bandages of what happened to me, the experience. I'm no longer bound. The breath just, it frees me.
So you mentioned your siblings. Do they do breath work too?
Oh, hell no. Oh, no, I take that back. One does. One does. And I have one sibling who doesn't speak to me by choice. My niece and nephews all do breath work with me. Shout out to y'all. And I've had to breathe on the relationship with my sibling that chooses not to speak to me.
Mm. Mm.
You know, definitely what came up for me was, oh, geez, what's the matter with me? I put on deodorant today, you know. However, the breath has given me the opportunity to see I am whole and I am enough. It doesn't mean that I don't love my sibling. Absolutely. Absolutely, I love my sibling. However, it is not my choice to interact with someone whose intentions are not for my highest and greatest good.
Mm.
I love you. However, you know, this individual isn't in my front row. If they needed support, I'd be there, Johnny on the spot. Absolutely. However, to put myself, I feel, in harm's way, and harm can be physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, that's not for my highest and greatest good. You know, I love A Course in Miracles, and I'm on my 7th year, I think, of reading it. And one of the things that A Course in Miracles says is only love is real. And Marianne Williamson says, she's a teacher of the Course and a follower of the Course, she says, sometimes love says no.
Mm.
And sometimes love says no. And sometimes that no may be, okay, we don't speak. Love you. Mean it.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to ask you a little bit about how you built your business.
Ooh, breath. Oh my God. I breathe on me. I breathe for me. Yes, I breathe in my business, through my business. Oh my God, yes. I do a lot of breath work. You know, I'm going to tell you, when you start out to do your own business, oh my God, the life of an entrepreneur is not for the faint-hearted. You have to have titanium cojones because all your stuff and cousins of the stuff that you have will all come forward. All of it, you know, and then it will dig in and bring up some more stuff and bring it with it. So it is, woof, let's take a breath on that. And genuinely, you hear, I just have to, I'm laughing because it really is true. I have to breathe for myself and in myself and through myself and for my business, absolutely. And because, you know, as you're building your business, first I went through, oh, I can do this myself. I don't need support. No, not true. Not true. And I'm here to tell you, I don't have one coach. I got 1, 2, 3 coaches. I've got a business coach, a life coach, and a breath coach. And we all need support. And you need support whether you're an entrepreneur or not. Sometimes we need support. So building my business, it's definitely breath work. It's definitely asking for support. And I will share with you quite honestly, and this is real, it happened yesterday. I was saying to myself, because I want to launch something, and I thought, okay, I got to figure out how to get this done. All right, how do I do that? How do I do that? And as soon as I felt that in my body, even saying it, I feel this tightness in my chest, right? And I feel my shoulders up like that. And so I says, wait a minute, hang on a second, hold on. Let me take a breath. You know, let me take a breath. I don't have to figure it out. It will flow.
Mm.
And from there, my breath, because with a breath practice, it just becomes automatic. My breath, honestly, just became longer. And I let it go. I let it go in that right now moment, knowing and confident that what I needed to do or the steps I need to take would come forth. And I'm going to say within about an hour, I started getting little downloads. That's the other thing with breath work with my business. And this is the honest to goodness truth. Your intuition, whether it's your business or just your life, that little intuition, you begin to hear it clearer. And again, it's because the breath releases that, fight or flight, that adrenaline, and that monkey mind, that chatter slows down and you can hear. And the beautiful thing, and you and I, Anna, are an example of that, with a breath practice, it's amazing what begins to come into, as my coach Ken Kaiser says, your 10-foot circle. So it's interesting what you begin to attract. The people you begin to attract, the opportunities that you begin to attract, and just as important, the people and opportunities, or I'll say opportunities, can't think of another word right now, that begin to just fall away, that are not for your highest and greatest good. So the breath has supported me to be confident in my business and my life, because the two are commingled. Mm-hmm. If you're an entrepreneur, your personal life is all up in there. For me to be confident and courageous, and my voice, to speak my heartfelt, authentic truth, to ask with confidence for what I want and need in my business and in my personal life. And it also has given me the ability to say, well done, Kathleen.
Beautiful.
Because a lot of times as an entrepreneur, it's like, okay, let me go from here. All right, let me do this. Okay, let me go. All right, I finished that. All right, go. And never take a moment to say, well done. So I'm going to invite everybody, yourself included, raise your right hand and bend it at the elbow and pat yourself on the back and say, well done.
Well done.
Well done. Well done. So, and that took a lot for me to really honor from whence I've come, what I'm doing, where I'm going, and say, yay, you, Kathleen. Because it's possible with a business to just get on that hamster wheel of go, 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 go. However, I have found that the expansion is getting off the wheel, taking a breath, looking at what you've done, savoring it, really savoring it and go, damn, boo, go girl, or go boy, because really when we look at what we've done, we've gone leaps and bounds, and to honor our commitment.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I breathe a lot.
Yeah. I've gotten into celebrating a lot, right? Like celebrating small wins. And also, I often ask clients this, is what do you want to acknowledge yourself for? Yeah. Right? Because we can so easily be into the next thing.
Yep.
Yeah. And not even just pausing and acknowledging ourselves for being where we are right here, because there's always something to acknowledge.
Always. And with a business, you're always going to grow. And at every single level, there will be a little bit of growing pains. I'm going to put the word pain in quotes. There's going to be a little bit of, growing pains. Always as we grow. And it's those of us that can just stop, take a breath. Okay. If I may, Anna, I really would like to share with your listeners too. This year is a very powerful year, I feel, and it's also a year where self-care is a non-negotiable. It's a non-negotiable. However that shows up for you. How this year the energy is very supportive, I feel. I call it insistently expectant. There's just so much support. However, it's really imperative that we take care of ourselves. What does that mean? Eat well, drink water, rest, get some sleep. No, you don't have to be on the computer or your phone 24/7. Get some support if you need it, however that looks. Who cares what, Tom or Sally has to say? Who cares? If you need support, get support. Take care of yourself. Take and make time for yourself.
Thank you for that message. I think it is so important. And I want to ask you, are there different breathwork exercises for different types of healing?
For me, in my practice, the breath speaks to me and it will tell me where it's stuck in the body. I may have you do a certain breath. Let's say solar plexus is coming up a lot for my clients. I've noticed this month.
Solar plexus is like below your belly button?
It's for women, it's like right underneath, below your belly button. That's a sacral chakra.
Okay.
And it's all in the same general area, but not below your belly button.
Above it.
Right. For me, it's for women, a little, like a finger, a joint beneath the bra line. For men, that's like the center of your diaphragm. And so we may do breath work where I may pull in, have you inhale the color yellow and exhale the color yellow into every single cell of your body. There may be times when I can feel, sense, and your breath is telling me that you're resisting in a session. And resisting is just checking out. Now, it's very easy with breath work. I say to go float with the fairies. And that's a nice, kind word for resistance. However, what you want to do is stay with your breath. You do want to stay in your body. You want to stay in your body. And so I may have them change up the rhythm of their breath. Always with me, though, the breath is consistent. It's continuous, like a wave. A wave comes into shore and then it melds immediately back into the ocean. So it just keeps going. If someone, let's say, is, keeping the integrity of my work. Let's say someone is experiencing, has ADD and is in the middle of having a bit of a panic attack. So I may have them inhale for 3, hold for 1, and exhale for 3. And that's going to just balance them out and also put them back in their body. Put them back in their body. So there are different breathing techniques I'll do, but it's really is a consistent one for me, the continuous breath. Because again, for me, in my personal and professional practice, that really just gets it. And it's kind and gentle. It doesn't have to be hard. Some people come to me and they say, "Oh, I don't want to do breath work. I hear it's really hard and it's a lot of energy." No. Now, if you resist a lot, which we all do, at one point or the other, it can be. However, the breath will also invite you back in. Invite you back in. Shall we do a little bit of breath?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. And for all of your listeners, as long as you're someplace safe, lovingly close your eyes and place your feet flat on the ground. If you have your ankles crossed or your arms crossed, just uncross them and begin to become aware of your body. Begin to become aware of how it feels to have a body. Feel the heaviness of your hips. Feel the solidness of your belly. And just allow your toes, whether they're in shoes or not, allow your toes to just lengthen. Good. And the breath I do is Conscious Connected Breathwork. And that's just connecting your inhale to your exhale, like a wave, as I said earlier. A wave comes into shore and then it melds immediately back into the ocean. So I'd like you to breathe through your nose, unless it's too difficult. I will always breathe through my mouth, but you breathe through your nose. And the breath goes and just keeping that breath going. And just listen to my voice. Excellent. And you don't have to worry if your mind doesn't understand what I'm saying. The cells of your body do. And just allow your breath to continue. Excellent. Softening your belly even more. Keeping your breath going, allowing your inhale to flow into your exhale and your exhale to flow into your inhale. Nice. Softening your shoulders and feeling yourself really being nourished and loved on by every inhale, by every exhale. Feel your body just expand with the deliciousness of your breath, the deliciousness of your inhale, your exhale, filling and overflowing you with peace, with joy, with calm. Open your mouth wide, take a big breath in. Keep your mouth open wide, exhale, saying ah. Open your mouth wide again, another big breath in. Softly, let it go, softly. And let's just do 2 more breaths through your nose. And for the last one, lengthen your inhale. Excellent. And just knowing that this feeling of peace, this feeling of relaxation, this feeling of wholeness is the truth of who you are every moment of the day. Give a little wiggle to your fingers, little wiggle to your toes, and lovingly open your eyes.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you.
Delicious. Kathleen, what's the best advice you've ever been given?
Well, I have to go back to Course in Miracles, my absolute favorite. And actually, I have to give two. Course in Miracles, there's a lesson. I don't remember what number it is, but it says, above all else, I'd like to see things differently. And when I repeat that to myself, if I'm in a situation that may be unsettling, it brings me peace. And the other advice, I know you asked for one, but I have to give two because they're neck and neck. It's from my mom. And my mom always says, God is always with you.
Mm.
And that also brings me peace.
One last question, just out of pure curiosity, Kathleen. Do you speak with your father?
Yes, I have to tell you, he has passed. He passed a long time ago. I have made peace with him, and he's a tremendous angel for me. I can feel him supporting me. So it's quite nice.
How did you make peace?
I did a lot of breath work and also willing. I was willing. And it goes back to life not being fulfilling. I wanted what I'm designed to have, a vibrant, thriving life. And I chose to be the cause of my life, not the effect. So that also is a part of the seeking, so that I can be the cause.
Thank you so much for sharing. Tell us how we can get in touch with you.
You can buzz me up. My number for telephone or text, 646-354-1537. My email is Kathleen with a K, Kathleen, Kathleen@kathleenbooker.net. I'm on Instagram. It's Kathleen Booker 8697, I think.
And you're doing a retreat.
Yes,
Tell us about that.
Excited. I have a retreat coming up May 21st through May 25th with my good friend Melanie Smith. So it will be breath work, it will be stand-up paddleboarding, it will be yoga, and it will be ritual. It will be empowering. So
where is it?
In North Carolina.
Awesome.
North Carolina.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kathleen. It's been an honor and a joy to be with you.
Thank you very much, Anna. Love to you and love to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.